Wildund Freizeitpark Kloten is a hybrid amusement park and zoo in western Germany. The park only features one roller coaster, but has several other nice aspects from the non-coasters to the aesthetics. I spent a pleasant half day at this park, and in this review, I will help you decide if you should visit this interesting park. Wildund Freizeitpark Kloten originally opened in 1970 exclusively as an animal park. After the sons of the original owners took over in the mid-1990s, the park started to diversify their offerings with some playgrounds and self-operated attractions. The latter were commonplace at a lot of smaller amusement parks across Europe, and their addition to Kloten signified that the park wanted to become more of an amusement park in the future. At the turn of the millennium, Kloten started an ambitious expansion plan. It would feature the park's largest rides to date and first themed attractions. It started in 2004 with the Heisefahrt roller coaster, and then continued in 2012 with the Zum Rittersturz Superflume. But at this point the theming was incomplete. The rides took place around an unfinished building. The castle theming was finally finished in 2020 when the Kunibert Abenteuer Shooting Dark ride opened. This may be the record for a park to finish theming an attraction. The castle has an oddly circular appearance, and it looks sort of like a birthday cake, which may be explained by the fact the rides were originally supposed to be themed to a volcano, before having the theme changed to a medieval castle years later. Despite the castle's odd shape, it does look nice. In fact, Kloten as a whole is a very nice looking park. The park is very green. The front half has an abundance of trees, and the entire park is very well landscaped between all the bushes and rockwork. You also will not find any blacktop here. The parking lot is entirely rock and dirt, and then most pathways are nice stone pavers. This reliance on natural beauty gives Kloten a relaxing feel. Then in the distance, you have these stunning mountains that surround the park. There are several openings along the pathways that showcase this, or you can appreciate the view to its fullest atop the park's tallest attractions. As of 2021, Kloten costs just under €24 a person, which is a very fair price given the mix of rides and animals at this park. I tried to buy a ticket in advance online to skip the ticket booth, but I wouldn't recommend doing this. You are charged a €3 convenience fee, and you'll still need to wait in line at the ticket booth to grab your tickets and access those turnstiles. The other thing to note if you purchase your tickets online is that you cannot use a credit card. Rather, you have to route money to the park's bank account. This was a practice quite a few German businesses have, but Kloten was the first time I personally encountered it. Another thing to note for foreigners is that the staff at this park spoke very limited to no English. Most staff at other parks I've been to across Europe speak great English, but it's definitely understandable given this park's location and how it probably doesn't attract many foreign tourists. The staff members seemed pleasant and were efficient. However, there are not as many staff members as other parks because many rides at this park are self-operated, and there are quite a few I want to highlight. The best is the Nautic Jet. This Sunkid Higa water ride winches a boat backwards up a tower, releases it, and then launches it into a pool. The descent is tumbly tickling like the initial plunge on a Vekoma boomerang, and the jump into the pool is exhilarating. It feels unnatural to have the ride vehicle fly through the air like this, and it results in some weak airtime plus a free-falling sensation. The resultant splash is drier than it looks off-ride, but watch out for that waterfall at the end. It can get your feet wet if you're not careful. The ride is simple, but it's a quick thrill, and I go into more detail in a separate review. The other notable one is Comet. Also from Sunkid Higa, this self-operated swing ride has riders pull a rope to go higher and faster. The ride may start slow, but if you hold that rope long enough, you will go higher than you may expect, and you'll actually get some standing airtime due to how minimalistic the lap bar is. And if there isn't a line, you can hold that rope as long as you like to get an infinitely long cycle. Moving on to the operator-controlled attractions, you have a few of note. The Lone roller coaster is arguably the best Gerstlauer bobsled in Heisefahrt. This is a wild mouse on steroids and has a very impressive layout. It has the usual hairpin turns loaded with laterals, but it also mixes in some surprisingly forceful helixes and a half dozen airtime moments. The high-speed S-hills offer good floater airtime, and then the 4 straight bunny hills also give some weaker floater airtime. This is one of the best wild mouse coasters I've ever ridden, and I go into more detail in a separate review. Located directly above Heisefart is Zum Rittersters, the ABC ride Super Flume. This water ride's name literally translates to "For the Night's Fall." The ride starts with a short but solid dark ride section past some medieval figures. Then you have a giant, rotating elevator that offers stunning views of those aforementioned mountains. You then hit the drop sequence, which is where the ride falters. The uphill section rattled, and then there was a nasty trim break that violently threw me forwards at the start of the drop. You can hear my scream of agony on my POV.
Oh.
This caused the sizable drop to have no airtime or zip. A few people commented on my Zum Rittersters review that it may have been to decrease the size of the splash on a rainy day, but the resultant splash was still very wet. While Zum Rittersters has all the elements of a great water ride, the flawed drop sequence really holds it back in my opinion. Inside the castle that both Heisefart and Zum Rittersters pass over is Kunabur's Abenteuer. This shooting dark ride from Lugentronics has solid physical sets, but there are 3 flaws. 1, it's rather dark. 2, it's rather short. 3, and most importantly, a lot of the targets just didn't seem to work. That's concerning for a ride that isn't even 2 years old. But if this issue can be rectified, this attraction becomes a solid shooting dark ride for a regional park like this. Beyond this, you have a decent racing water slide that comes close to giving airtime, and then only 1 or 2 other flat rides. This park's biggest weakness is the lack of mechanical rides. However, it does compensate with a decent zoo. Now this zoo can't compete with some of the dedicated zoos out there, but this one has almost 24 different animals, and the pathways get really close to the enclosures. If you only care about the rides, you may only need 2 hours. I visited on a summer weekend, albeit a rainy one, and almost everything was a walk-on. The longest wait I saw was 10 to 15 minutes for Heisefart by the mid-afternoon. But from the accounts of others I know who have visited this park, they've never encountered high crowds or long wait times. And that's a good thing because there aren't many high-capacity rides here. And if you add in the zoo, Clawton can easily take up a half day. If you're in the area, this is a fun park to check out. And if you're on a European coaster road trip, this park is 1 hour from Phantasialand and 2 hours from Holiday Park. My recommendation is to start at Clawton and pair it with Holiday Park on a day when the latter has a late closing time. So those are my thoughts on Wilde und Freizeitpark Clawton in West Germany. What are your thoughts on this relaxing theme park? I would love to hear what you think about any of the rides or aspects of this park down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.